this is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there, live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, we hope you are well wherever you may be. As we still can't get into the studio, so we're continuing with our podcast-style versions of Wrestling Insiders, where we discuss the latest news, notes, memories, and history of the greatest form of sport and entertainment known to mankind when it is done right. I am your humble host, Dan Marati, along with
Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
Tony, we got a lot to talk about going on here. We're hopefully going to have several episodes for the fans to enjoy. We're going to have an update on the Atlas World News, which premiered this week. I have to say, I was very surprised by the fan response. Like I said, we'll talk about that in a bit. One thing that came out of the office of our good friend Dr. David Reese today, the president of the Millennium Wrestling Federation, due for the month of May, it is Make-A-Wish month. Those kids have meant an awful lot to us, Tony, since we opened up shop all the way back in 2001. For those kids to have to go through what they deal with their various health ailments, it pulls on the strings of your heart. To try and do something, maybe if we can't do everything, I think every human being is capable of doing something. And even in these tough times, we might not be able to run a live wrestling event fundraiser or something like that, like we've done for the Make-A-Wish kids in the past. But for those fans that are online, which is probably 99% of them if they're listening to this, on our eBay store, between now and the end of the month, we have a WWE NXT roster poster. It is signed by all 21 superstars on the poster, including Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, the War Raiders, Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, Lacey Evans, Shayna Baszler, many of whom now are already in Raw and SmackDown. It is an autographed poster signed by all 21 stars. Bid on it now, and the proceeds will go to the kids at Make-A-Wish to make some dreams come true. And I think that's an awfully nice thing, Tony.
Yes, it is. You know, from 2008, when I went to WWE, Sue Aquis used to put on an art show every year at WrestleMania, and a lot of my artwork went was auctioned off to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So the WWE and you, Dan, that's a very good thing you guys doing with the Make-A-Wish. You know, like you said, these are American future. So what we do for the kids today, we also do for the future of America.
Well, I think if the kids suffer through a health ailment like they do, I think they deserve a little light at the end of the tunnel and a break from their reality, from the constant pain and sickness they're in. I think it's a great thing. And like I said, we can't do everything. We are who we are. We're the size operation that we are, but we can still do something. And I think everybody should look at life like that.
In the Bible, it says, "Will you do for the least of thee, you also do upon me."
All right. Well, Tony, you know those Bible verses. And one more thing, Tony, before we get into the news, the Patreon is really starting to get popular now, where for just a couple of dollars per month, fans can stream dozens and dozens of studio shoot interview DVDs with superstars like yourself, Iron Sheik, Paul Bearer, The Boogeyman, Kamala, Axe and Smash Demolition, Paul Orndorff, Harley Race, and so many more. You help keep wrestling legends working when you subscribe for just a couple bucks a month. And for those subscribers, Tony, we're going to do a free giveaway between now and the end of the month. Everyone that is part of our little Patreon family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. We're going to do a giveaway, Tony, for a brand new autobiography of a man you knew quite well, and one of your wives knew even better, the Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Yes, you know, Jimmy Snuka, he had a very interesting life. A lot of people, things you're going to learn that you didn't know, like Jimmy Snuka, before he was a professional wrestler, him and his first wife, was a fire dicer. What a fire dicer is in Hawaii, he had a patong, and at the end, he had fire on the end of it. He used to dice on hot coals. He was also a cliff diver, and also in bodybuilding, he was Mr. Hawaii.
Have you ever read Jimmy's book, Tony?
No.
Would you like a copy?
Yes.
Well, you know what? You're going to get one too, brother, because you're part of the family. So one to Tony, one to one of our great Patreon subscribers. All you have to do is be signed up with us between now and the end of the month. And then on the first day, you know what maybe we'll do, Tony? Maybe we'll have you pick a lucky number for the number of subscribers we have. And whoever it is on that list, we'll send them the book for free. Give them something to read during these crazy quarantine times.
There you go.
All right, Tony, let's get into the news. This one is awfully sad. We touched upon it earlier in the week during the episode where we discussed Becky Lynch's pregnancy, which got a very, very mixed reaction, but that's a different story for a different time. But as we fully expected, Shad Gaspard's body was found. He is indeed passed away, Tony, and I think that's horrible.
Very, very sad. You know, me and you were with him in Florida. We had WrestleMania. When we come out the table, laugh and joke, him and what the guy, VIP or MVP?
JTG.
Yeah, but no, it was another guy. He back
MVP.
Yeah, remember he was sitting right beside us, along with Ben Masters, and all of us were laughing and joking and taking pictures together. And not in 1,000 years will we believe that young man would not be here now.
Yeah. Well, Tony, it was sad. You actually went home early last year when we were in New York for WrestleMania. We did the WrestleCon on Friday and Saturday, and then you went home to Monica. But we stayed over, for the WrestleMania event, as WWE was nice enough to have us as guests. But they had a smaller convention the morning of WrestleMania in New Jersey, and we were there with Dutch Mantel and both a Crime Time. So we really had a lot of fun that day. He was an engaging guy. JTG, I got to know him a little bit better. Is he?
JTG, we know that, but you know, Shaq was the life of the party. He was very energetic, very outgoing. His partner kind of laid back. He's not as outgoing as Shaq was. Shaq was really he was the highlight of the party. You know, he was he talked to anybody, did everything anybody, always had that big smile on his face. Was kind of like a big kid if you really watch him. He liked to play around. Yeah, was just full of life, you know. And for a person so full of life to lose his life so tragically, but he died a hero. Because when the lifeguard came to grab him, he said, "Take my kid first."
And what other way would you want to go out, really, at the end of the day?
He saved his son's life.
Because if it wound up with the situation reversed, how could you ever live with yourself if he made it and the kid didn't? I know I couldn't.
Where he couldn't either. So he died saving the life of his child, which is recommendable. So he left out here as a hero. He was always be a hero to that young man because you know he was so he didn't think about himself at that moment.
No,
all he thought about was his child, and not to bring it up, but it reminded me of the death of Bruiser Brody when Carlos Colon came over to him and said, "Bruiser, is anything that I could do for you?" He said, "Take care of my family." So even though he was leaving this earth, that he knew he was leaving this earth, he thought about his family. That was the last thing on both Shad and Bruiser Brody, man, when they was about to leave the earth.
Yeah, there's a similarity there. You're right.
Yeah, which is amazing. It's very sad, you know, and I wish that I want to give my condolences to his family and everything. I talked to his wife on what they call that, where you can see each other. He's with 2008.
FaceTime? Skype?
Yeah, it's kind of like you know, you could call your wife and she could see you and you could see her.
I think you're talking about Skype, Tony. That would be my guess.
Yeah, it probably was Skype, and I used to say hi to her and stuff like that. So, you know, my condolences go out to his family and to all the fans that have supported him. Thank you, you know, but it's sad.
Well, you know what I find remarkable, I guess, in a disappointing way, is that when we were at that fan reunion last year in New Jersey, I remember him, JTG and myself, maybe it's because of the age we're at, but we were all talking about the kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The little Marathis, and he had his son, and I think JTG has a daughter that lives here in Boston.
Yeah.
So beyond wrestling, we were talking kids stuff. So it was memorable, and it's sad for all the wrong reasons. But he, a person of great character, Tony, not only did he have the experience he had over the weekend saving the son, but in 2016, he actually stopped an armed robbery going on down in Florida. I think it was at a convenience store. I don't know if you remember that.
No, that's the first I heard of it.
Well, you know, he's a big guy, as you know, but, you know, if someone was standing in front of me in line with a gun trying to rob the place, I don't know what my reaction would be, to be honest. But for him, he disarmed the man, he took the gun, and he held him down for dear life until the police came and arrested him. So I don't know if he saved someone's life that day, but he certainly stopped that robbery from taking place. He's a big guy, as fans know.
Yes, he was. 6'4", 6'5"?
Oh, he's a lot bigger than me, and I'm 6'3".
Yeah, he's a big man. Good man. He was a good man.
Looking back at his history, Tony, you know, a relatively young guy, they let go, well, twice. He was released in 2008, I think, and then he came back the following year, and then they were released again. He was released in 2010. JTG had to run as a single. But, I mean, in the magic concoction you'd look at to make a professional wrestler, he had a lot going for him. He had the size. He had a great build. As you know, you said, he had a great personality. He wasn't an older guy, you know. He wasn't long in the tooth by any stretch of the imagination. He wasn't even 40 when he passed away. He was someone that you could look at and say, well, you know, maybe not a main eventer for his career, but someone that they could put in positions for occasional big title matches or a feud with The Undertaker, to have a big guy to put Undertaker over during his legendary run in the company. Do you think that more could have been done with the man as far as his professional wrestling career went?
Well, see, one thing, and I don't mind saying this, because most of the boys, any wrestlers listening to this right now, is going to say, yeah, Tony, right on. You could be the greatest performer the world has ever seen. If the promotion do not have you figure in, it don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
I have seen so much great talent that never been used properly. Never even got the chance to go there. If the old time wrestlers used to tell me in the older days, guys like Abe Jacob, Johnny Weaver, Klondike Bill, Paul Jones, Wahoo McDaniel, Blackjack Mulligan, they all used to say the same thing. The funny thing about pro wrestling is good guys finish last. They used to tell me the assholes are always the one that make all the money and get everything. The guy that keep his nose clean, try to do right, he get the shaft. Good guys finish last in pro wrestling, and even though it's never up to the wrestler. It was more up to the wrestler back in the olden days. Just like a lot of guys don't know this, but I didn't live this part of wrestling. But I was riding with some old timers one time, I think with Luthez and all these guys. Wrestling was pretty much a legitimate business for many, many years.
Right.
What happened, a guy named Scar Murphy, he going to wrestle this guy. And I think his name was Scar Murphy or Strangling Lewis. You can read the history and get the name correct. But the story there, they was taught he let the guy win to get a rematch because with the first big, they wasn't drawn for months. Didn't draw no money for months. So before the match, the guy was from Germany, and this German guy going to wrestle this American guy. So for months they couldn't draw no money. Finally, they had a house. So the promoter went to the wrestler and said, "Look, why don't you lose this one, and then you could beat him on the rematch?" So he was in the bar one night, and he was talking. Blackjack Mulligan was telling me the story too. I'm on Blackjack telling me. And he was talking about wrestling, this guy, and they would say, "Well, I was surprised you lost." He said, "I didn't lose." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I was there, you lost." He said, "Oh, I let him win so we could do a rematch." Then a newspaper guy was sitting at the bar. He overheard them talking. And the next morning, he put it into the paper.
And that was the first expose of the industry.
Right, and that's where wrestling got the reputation as being fake. Yeah. Then the same thing happened to a baseball team they called the Chicago Black Sox.
Right,
there was
the 1919 World Series. They called
it the Black Sox because the same thing happened to them. Some guy over here, I'm talking about,
throwing the games.
Right, calling the games and stuff. So this got out, and so wrestling had a bad stigmatization for many, many years, and they couldn't get nobody to draw. So these promoters, these wrestlers couldn't get themselves no work. So what do they hire the promoter? They hired the promoter. And the promoter job was just to promote the shows in the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. That's all he did. He promoted them guys. He booked them and promoted. He had nothing to do with winners or losers. When I first started in the 70s, the promoter would come to the dressing room and say, Tony, we need you to do your favor. Now, sometimes they would ask a guy to put me over. And then they would come back to the dressing room and say, Tony, you're going to have to take it. He's not going to lay down for you. He's not going to put you over. You have to do it, what they call, do it the hard way.
Really?
He's not going to do the job. And he had good reason not to do the job because, you see, because of that stigma, pro wrestlers, they had to always prove that, like George Scott told me, said, Tony, you see all the fans out there, everybody out there believe that wrestling is fake. It is your job to prove to them that is not by all means. So our job was not trying to do the fancy moves or we try to make it as legitimate as possible. I tell this story in my book, and I hope the fans out there excuse my language, but this is what was told. I'm just repeating somebody else. I got to tell it the way it was told to me.
All right, let's hear it, brother.
Okay, I was wrestling Gene Anderson, and I hit Gene with a forearm. He said, you fucking cunt, you, with them big arms, is that as hard you could fucking hit me, kid? So I said, okay. So I drew back, and I gave him a forearm slash as hard as I could. He go, that's it, kid. Lay him in.
He liked your work and stuff.
They will not sell it unless they did. They told me, if you don't feel it, don't sell it. Because they told me a story one time about guys that like to work loose, and this guy's name was Cowboy somebody.
Cowboy somebody, yeah.
I can't remember his last name.
He was a cowboy. Yeah.
Well, he got in trouble in Japan for raping a Japanese girl. But if you go through some old pictures,
what a revelation! Cowboy somebody got in trouble in Japan for raping a woman. Well.
Yeah, well, anyway, all of this is probably written somewhere.
All right,
but
we'll look up Cowboy
I want to say Cowboy Lane or Bob, somebody like. I don't want to use the wrong name. I can't think of the name right off that. If I say I know it started with Cowboys, wear cowboy boot. He wrestled in the 60s and 70s. His career was over with by the 70s anyway. But anyway, somebody threw a paper cup. They was in a battle royal. Somebody threw a paper cup in the ring, and it hit him in the back of the head. So he took a bump over the ring because he thought one of the fans did it.
He sold for the paper cup.
He sold the paper cup. Stuff right after that. Right after the promoter said, look, if you don't feel it, don't sell it. Now guys will throw a drop kick, miss the guy a mile, and the other guy is taking a big bump from it.
They sell it like they just got shot by a cannon, Tony.
Exactly. Because they don't have what we have, what we call ring psychology.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of times I was in the ring with someone, that promoter tell me, say, if a guy don't sell for you, make him sell. It's
a good philosophy.
Make him sell. So these old timers would beat the crap out of you. When you have a rematch with him, the old timer would tell you, kid, we're going to do this two ways, the hard way or the easy way.
Do you think that Cowboy somebody said that to the woman he raped in Japan?
No, but
all right.
But see, when guys do stuff like that, it hurt all the wrestlers.
Yeah.
Because for a while that guy wouldn't bring in no American wrestler. He was very skeptical about who they come. So whenever a wrestler do something, it don't just hurt him. It hurt every wrestler. Like I was telling you when you brought me down to do your show, if I had done something at your show, then not only you would not want to work with no more, but the people that run the building, the people that sponsor you, the people that work with you don't want to work with you no more either.
Exactly, yeah.
Because whenever I come into town to wrestle for Dan Morella and Boston Wrestling, I'm representing Boston Wrestling. I come into that studio. If I was to go around and break things in that studio, they're not gonna jump on me.
Long term, it'll be me. Right.
They go in the long term. What they do, they go by whoever got the deepest pocket. Like when Hulk Hogan got busted with steroid, they didn't go after Hogan as much as they went after Vince. Right. Even with Chris Benoit. What the hell did Vince have to do with Chris Benoit? The answer is nothing. Yeah. What happened in Chris Benoit's home has not a damn thing to do with Vince McMahon, but the WWE was drugged through the mud along with the Chris Benoit incident and everything that happened with the Jimmy Snuka thing that they come out to WWE. So no matter when you represent a company, and not just wrestling, it's any corporation. I'm a personal trainer at the YMCA. And the YMCA stands for Young Men's Christian Association. So we have a lot of youth, a lot of young people. So if somebody coming from a sexual assault charge on me, the Y has no choice but to get rid of me. And if they don't, then they're going to lose sponsors and they're going to get drugged through the mud with me. So George Scott tried to teach me. I mean, I know this now. I know it now. Yeah. I didn't know it during the time. That's why when I talk, I didn't destroy my career by myself, but I helped.
You helped. Well, and you know what, Tony? I think to highlight what you just said as being factual, you know, when the news broke that first Shad went missing and then that he later passed away, what was the headline in the newspaper and on the internet? It was WWE superstar Shad Gaspard.
Exactly.
So that's how they label it, for better or for
good
worse.
Or bad. Yeah. You connected, good or bad, no matter what happened with a wrestler. And if Shad had robbed a bank or murdered somebody, WWE name would have been in there too.
Yeah. Well, Tony, I don't know. I thought the Crime Time team, they could have done a lot more with them. I compare them now to the Street Profits they have on the Raw team, on the Raw TV show, I should say. And, you know, JTG and Shad, they were both athletic guys. They both had good physiques. They had great charisma. They had fun promos. They had a great entrance. You look at the Street Profits now, it's almost nothing against the two guys, but it's almost independent level. I think WWE missed the boat on them as a team. And
Well, I'm going to tell you something that was told to me.
Let's hear it, brother.
And I wasn't there then.
All right.
But one time they got fired from beating up the referee.
They beat up a referee?
Yeah, in the parking lot.
I didn't know that. All right, well.
Yeah.
So maybe there were reasons.
Over a finish something. Another reason, and this came from Teddy Long. If you talk to Teddy Long, he ain't shy about telling people this stuff. I mean, he must have told 1,000 people. One of the biggest things that Shad had that the WWE was against at the time was him and them white girls.
Oh, all right. Well,
Teddy Long used to always tell me that stuff. You know, he said, brother, don't bring them white girls up in here on your arm around these people. They don't like that.
Why? What was the problem with them? That's kind of the way of the world now.
Well, you see, it's the age group.
Yeah, all right. Well, all right.
Right. The age group. See, all the people in charge that got all the power, they own. So they were brought up in a different generation.
I'm more accepting. Is that what you're saying? All right.
Yeah, I ain't saying they're racist or nothing, but you know, they look at their business and they felt that this would you not mockable. See, you can do stuff like that how you become powerful, how you become famous. But when you're on your way up the ladder, you can't step on no toes. And a lot of people just don't believe in that mixed marriage. I remember my wife, when I was in 2008, my wife decided she's going to come to the show with me. Mm-hmm. And she said that, I'm not going to call the people names, but she told me stuff that she overhear people saying about me being with a white woman.
What did they say, Tom?
And this was in 2000 and, when was this? I took her to the show. 2000, and I was with Mark Henry, so it got to be 2008. Because 2009, I went with Abraham Washington. I was with Mark Henry, so they were 2008.
What did they say, Tony?
Well, my wife was telling me, Tony Atlas know better than this to bring, to bring that woman, to the matches. He know how the office feel about that. That Tony, no matter what they try to do, what we try to do for Tony, he always do something to fuck it up.
I can't see why that would be offensive in the least. But maybe, again, you said it's a different age bracket.
That's why it's hard for you to understand that, because you was not raised up in it.
Right.
See, but there's a lot of people came up in America, especially down south. And what happened to the WWE, a lot of Southerners came up here and brought that Southern type of mentality to the North. You know, the feeling where the South is never going to lose. And not say that all Southerners feel that way, but if you raise at a certain age, a certain time in America, they would raise up with the belief systems. You know, it don't mean they racist. It don't mean they hate people. They just got a belief system. You know, it's just like that's the reason so many people support our president now, because a lot of people believe that America should just take care of Americans and nobody else. And these was because for many, many years, you just look at, we 400 years old. For over 200 years, the only people America took care of was Americans.
Yeah. Well,
we didn't try helping out these other countries after World War II. But before World War II, we look after each other. And so we do a lot, just like right now, we got the coronavirus going. I know I'm getting off subject
very
again.
much, but what else is no?
I was going to do. But no, we got the coronavirus going on right now. So most people feel that all our attention should be on getting Americans back to work and getting Americans healthy. They don't feel, and me, a lot of time when I talk, it's not just me talking, I want people to know that, but I talk to a lot of people all day long. So if I talk to 10 people and 8 people tell me one thing and 2 people tell me another thing, I'm going to talk about what the 8 people told me, because that's the majority of what the majority of the people think.
Exactly.
And as a wrestler and an entertainer, you have to know your audience.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, you have to know your audience. So mainly when I talk, I'm just talking about things I hear, things I overhear, things that I experienced myself that came directly out of people. Dick Murdoch, who was, everybody know, it's no secret in wrestling. We all knew this. He was a member of the KKK.
Yeah.
So one night I asked him, I said, why do you dislike black people? He said, I like you. And I like Rufus R. Freight Train Jones. And he said, because y'all stick with your own.
So he wouldn't have liked it when you wound up marrying Monica.
No.
Dick Murdoch wouldn't have liked it at all.
Oh, no, I was married, and with him and Adrian O'Donnell was tag team up there in, when Murdoch came to New York after he took the belt off of me and Rocket Johnson, him and Adrian Adonis. I remember I was riding with S.D. Jones, and we were there in Allentown, Pennsylvania, at the George Washington, which is in the same place where the girl got killed at. All the boys in Allentown.
The Snooker incident.
Yeah,
the Snooker incident. Yeah,
the Snooker incident. So anyway, I was married to a girl. Her name was Lisa. Lisa was half Puerto Rican and half Italian, but she was very, very light skinned, very light skinned. So we came out the restaurant, and SD saw Murdoch coming along with some of the other WWE wrestlers. He told Lisa, he said, "Look, I want you to speak Spanish so they don't think you white." He said, just speak Spanish around. I don't want them, this way SD said, I don't want them to think that you are white.
What would Murdoch and Adonis have done if they heard her speak English?
Well, you see, SD did not want them to think that she was white, because he didn't want them to hurt me any more than what they were doing. They don't dethrone her. They already had me to put over everybody but the fucking referee. SD was trying to keep me there as long as he could. And he knew that somebody ran by the office and said, I saw Tony hanging out with a white girl. He knew that would have been the end of my career. I would have left that day. Yeah. So SD done that. He warned me, that this time is not, it's over with some people. Like anybody that was born, I would say in the 50s or 60s, still got that in them, black and white, no matter where you come from, because you're raised in that period of time.
Right.
Like I was raised in a gym.
Yeah.
So even I'm a senior citizen, I still got the same belief system I had when I was grew up in my house with my mother. You know, you hear me talk. I said, my mom told me this. You hear me talk about all these old timers like Klondike Bill. When I mentioned Klondike Bill, I learned that lesson in the 70s. That lesson I learned almost 50 years ago.
You learned a lot of lessons from him and Johnny Weaver.
Yeah, because I rode with them guys with Abe Jacob and some of the guys I rode with, I can't even, sometimes me and you get off the phone and I say, Darren, I forgot to mention this guy and that guy and this guy and this guy, But they were just these old timers. These guys brought up in the 50s and in the 60s. So they taught us what to do and what not to do. And they told us the reason why not to do that, because we didn't want to scare away fans. Mm-hmm. Like for example, Obama never got in that White House with a white girl on his arm, right. And what never happened. Mm-hmm. That's not just the way white people feel either. So it's not a thing. It's not a thing against white. A lot of blacks don't like that, especially a lot of black women. So we ain't got to that point yet as a society. So Shad, getting back to Shad, that was one of his problems. And how I know that was problem, it was a problem for Tiger Conway Jr. If I ever talked to him, he'd say the same thing. And it was a problem.
I think he's dead, Tony. I can't ask Tiger Conway Jr.
Tiger?
I think he's passed. Let me add, we have the support staff.
He was a young man. I mean, he couldn't be more than his 50s.
Tiger Conway Jr. is still amongst the living. Hold on, Tony. I think Tiger tapped, but we'll see.
Maybe Tiger Sr. you're talking about.
At least maybe he's down with Carol Baskin. Tiger Sr. is done, but we're waiting on Junior now. Maybe George,
I know Senior's
Joe
gone,
Exotic got him. No, Tony, I am mistaken. Tiger Conway Jr. is still alive. 67 years of age. It's just his career that's dead.
Yeah, because he's not that old. He's me and him about the same age. But he had that problem, too, because he liked to date women outside the race.
Tiger and another guy,
and one guy that really had that problem, and I even hear people saying stuff when he was doing it, when I would team up with Rocky Johnson.
Rocky Johnson didn't like it.
No, Rocky liked dating women outside
Rocky
of
liked the
race.
white women. I see. All right. Well,
right. Rocky always dated. See, Rocky never cared what color you was. If he saw you, he liked you, he lay you. He didn't care. He didn't care if you was black, white. He didn't. He was from Canada, so he didn't have these type of hang-ups.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, he didn't have any hang-ups about who he went to bed with. He had children in Canada by a black woman. He had children by a Samoan woman. See? He didn't care with Samoan, white, but Rocky had that habit of dating outside of his race, and that hurt him, believe it or not. I know people don't want to believe this, but a lot of people in charge of things now, they're not mean people, they're not racist, so don't say, oh, they're WWE racist. No, they're not racist. If they were racist, I would have never been there. So it's not racism. They got a certain belief that birds of a feather flock together. A lot of people raised that way. There used to be a Jewish person could not marry a Catholic. A Protestant couldn't marry a Catholic. So it wasn't just a black-white thing. It was just a culture thing. That they don't believe in. A lot of people don't believe in the mixing of the cultures.
All right, Tony, as usual, some very interesting facts from the Hall of Famer himself. A sad week in the world of professional wrestling. Again, Shad Gaspard passes away at the age of 39. Tony, what a very interesting life. We mentioned not only his wrestling career, but the incident in Florida where he stopped an armed robbery. He saved his son's life in his final moments here on Earth. But, I mean, even outside of professional wrestling, he was involved in boxing. I think he had a big MMA fight, if I remember correctly. He was a bodyguard for some rappers. He was involved in, I believe, wrote some kind of a script for a television series. He starred in some movies. He was involved in video games. So he was a very well-versed human being, I guess, at the time he was with us. Yeah.
Like I say, he was one guy that really, really enjoyed life. If you could picture anybody ever met him, if you could picture him picture him in your mind right now, you never saw him get mad. He was always laughing and joking and a big smile on his face.
Well, we had a good time in New Jersey. I only wish that you were there with us, Tony, to have some of the fun. But you had to get home to Maine.
Well, the last time I saw him was at WrestleCade in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and me and him have a pose down.
Oh, did you? Who won?
Yeah.
Who won?
Well, the fans cheered. There was no winning or losing.
All right.
You know, JT have gotten really, really big. He put on a lot of muscle.
Oh, yeah. He looked phenomenal. That's what I mean. I don't understand why he's not on television, but that's a different story for a different time.
He used to call me old. Shad used to call me old man all the time. He said, "Hey, old man." He said, "Look over here." He said, "My partner got bigger arms than you now." So then I flexed back at his partner. He said, "Oh, so you want to have a pose down, huh?" And I said, "Yeah, that's the three of us had a pose there." So all three of us, you know, we were posing down there. And then after we got through, we laughed like we normally do, hug each other. He always played with me. Every time, you know, he was like he told me, him and MVP and Markin, that they all used to watch me on TV years ago, so they had they were very respectable to me. Shad was, you know, he was very respectable to me. Wonderful young man. It broke my heart when I hear the news about him. I knew he was gone when they told me they couldn't find his body after that many hours. I'm just glad. I'm just glad that his body washed up on the shore.
At least they can have a final goodbye.
Right, the family has some closure, because I watched a lot of these police programs where these people go missing, and these other family members never have closure in their life.
That situation with Natalie Holloway in Aruba, I believe.
Yeah,
they never found the girl's body, and I think the mother still holds out hope that she'll be found someday. And we're talking, I think that's probably going on 20 years.
The family never get a chance to say goodbye to their loved ones. You know, that's. You know, I don't know what I'd do if my loved one passed away, and I never get a chance to say I love them or to say goodbye to them, or to, you know, just not knowing. Is the unknown that I think is the worst torture to most people. Is he alive? Is he dead? Was he eaten by a shark? What happened to him? You know, was he picked up by a parrot and taken to somewhere, or what happened? But now they know what happened. He drowned and washed ashore. So it's not gratification for the family, but at least they have some sort of closure in their life, and they're able to say goodbye to him. They're able to bury him and, you know, have a funeral with him. So it worked. You know, it's still sad, but at least I'm glad that they was able to find his body where the family was able to, you know.
Yeah, and just the outpouring of respect from some of the fellow athletes and co-workers he was with during the time is outstanding. So I think that speaks a lot about his character and integrity.
Yeah, but nobody said nothing bad about it. He was a big joke. He was like a big kid. He laughed and joked with everybody. You know, he did what he was told. Or, you know, he got in a little trouble here and there and then with the office, but we all done that. So,
well. Hopefully they'll be.
We all done that one. Even the one making big money have done that once or twice.
Absolutely. I have to thank our friend Shelton Benjamin, because he was the one that set it all up. He gave high recommendations to work with Shad and JTG last year, and it worked out great. So I only wish we would have had a chance to have done more. Who knows? Maybe we might do something with JTG down the road where he's in this area a lot. You never know.
It'd be nice.
It would be nice.
It'd be nice.
All right, Tony. Well, we wish we had better news, but like you said, it was kind of what we expected all along. And that's that. We can only wish the family the best. If there are any fundraising endeavors that go on, obviously we'll publicize that, because I think that's very important. You know, a young man pass away with a family like that, and hopefully someone will try and do a drive to help him out. He wasn't someone that sat around and was making the big 7-figure contracts with WWE. But
he touched a lot of people's heart, including mine. A lot of fans have met him at conventions. And anybody ever met him, they all say, "Yeah, he treated me real good." You know, he was like me, very, very outgoing. You know, you couldn't walk by his table without him saying something to you.
Yeah. No, you know, I'm really glad we were able to put together what we did last year in New York City. We had a good time, and I think the fans really enjoyed it too. Yeah,
me too. Yeah.
All right, Tony. Well, we wish we were able to end it on a more positive note. The situation, unfortunately, is what it is. We want to let fans know we're going to have more wrestling-themed Wrestling Insider episodes coming over the next few days. The response to the first installment of the Atlas World News really surprised me. The fans loved it. In less than, it must have been about 16 hours, well over 1,000 people had watched. The thumbs up to thumbs down ratio was astronomical. Tony, they love hearing you talk. I don't know.
Well, no, you see, a lot of time when I talk, like I say, very rarely do I give my opinion. Because I learned a long time ago, opinion like assholes, everybody got one that all smell.
Yeah.
So I try to tell the lessons that I learned. And the reason I tell these stories, because I experienced it, and I know the results of it. It's like I know the results of doing too much cocaine. I experiment with that. I know the results of overuse steroids, which I never did, but I know those that did abuse it.
Yeah.
And when I see them now, they look nothing, not even close to what they did before they got involved with the steroid, because they didn't do it the way they abused it. They didn't do it the way the doctor expect them to do it. It's not a bad drug used under doctor directions.
Yeah, well, it's like
it only become bad when it's abused. It's like an aspirin. If you take 1 or 2 aspirin a day, no problem. You take the whole bottle of aspirins in one day, you got a problem. It's
like when Ivan Putski went from being Polish power to no power.
Right, yeah. Because a lot of things. See, being a personal trainer, I learned a lot of stuff. Like Putski is like, you know, he built up using the steroids. Yeah. So when he was could no longer use the steroid, everything that he built from the steroid, well, when you stop, whatever it takes to get something, it takes the same thing to keep it. Yeah. And so I learned a lot of things. Like I said, a lot of things I had to experience for myself. That's why when people get in conversation with me, I argue so hard on him, because I said, you can't tell me what I experienced. I know if you do that, that is going to happen. So like I know if you talk out with Vince McMahon, say, do I have any questions? And then you ask a question, I know you ain't going to be working there no more. I know that. Because everybody that ever done that ain't working there no more. See? All right. And that's how we learn our lesson. A lot of lessons wrestlers learn is not so much a personal lesson, but they was present and learned the lesson through the mishaps of someone else that did it. Yeah. Like I was in a car accident with Tommy Wildfire Rich, and I learned way back in the late 70s, early 80s, when he broke my neck in that car accident, that when you drive, don't pop pills, don't drink, and keep your eyes on the road.
Tommy was doing a little too much partying while he was driving. Is that what you're trying to say?
But it wasn't a little so too much wildfire. Tommy, let's say Tommy is driving, right? Now, try to picture this, all those that listen, picture this, humanity. They probably have rolled with people that do this, because Tommy was not the only person that done this. Mm-hmm. Let's say Tommy is the driver, right? Yeah. You are a passenger in the back seat. Mm-hmm. When Tommy want to tell you something, what do you think he did?
Turned around.
Yes. Yes.
He had a little Commissioner Von Johnson in him.
Yeah, he would turn all the way around in that seat to talk to you, even if you were sitting directly behind him. And I said, Tommy, why you do that? He said, I like looking at a person when I talk to him. He said, that's how he was raised. When he talked to somebody, he looked him straight in the face, you know. And he would do that even when he was driving. One day, he turned to talk to me. I was sitting directly behind the driver. When Tommy turned back around, the car was in the air.
Really? Wow.
Going over a cliff.
Wow.
And you know, the funny thing about it, his co-pilot, guy in the front seat, he froze, so he couldn't tell Tommy to watch out. You know, he just froze. And we went over a cliff, and I woke up in the hospital, and I say this 1,000 times. If it wasn't for the Iron Sheik, I would have died in 1979.
Well, Tony, I think we should save that for an episode about the Sheik. That's a tremendous story.
Yep. The Sheik saved my life. We'll do a tease. He would tell the story.
We'll do a tease.
He's the one that got me out of the car.
All right. Well, Tony, that is unbelievable. It's been a very not one of our favorite episodes, but we got through it nonetheless. We'll be back over the next few days with another wrestling-themed Wrestling Insiders, and I think we're going to have episode 2 of the Atlas World News. It's going to be phenomenal, Tony. We hope you have a great Memorial Day. What?
Yeah, if it's okay with you, I'd like to leave the wrestling fans with one thing.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many people out there that believe in God, and I'm not trying to force nobody to believe in God because, we live in a free society. You're freedom of religion. You're free to believe and think the way you are. But I do believe of energy. Life is energy. Everything on earth is energy. And I know that right now, during the time of slavery, the old black trick, they would sing songs to make them happy while they suffer in the field. So when the people used to call us slap happy, we were not slap happy, but the best way to deal with misery is through happiness. Because if you get miserable with it, you join in misery. They always say misery love company.
Yep.
Do not accept the invitation.
Hey, that's a good way to look at it.
Misery is always handing out invitation to it gallery. Do not join the party. Do not accept the invitation. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so should it be. So in other words, we draw negative and we draw positive to us.
Yeah.
Negativity cannot enter in a positive environment. And positiveness cannot survive in a negative environment. Like if something happened to you, my brother was in the military for many, many years. And he said that he was in the special forces. He don't like me talking too much about it because, he stayed kayfabe because that's how they, in his day, that's how you work. Or he went in the military back in the 70s. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right. So they believe in kayfabe, what they did. And he always had this joke, if I tell you, that means I have to kill you. So I never asked him about, but he told me one time, he said, the brain is a very, very powerful thing. He said that he could be captured by the enemy and could be going through torture, but he knew how to reduce the pain through mental thought.
Really?
Right. Then when I got into bodybuilding, 90% of bodybuilding and weightlifting is mental. It's not physical. You take a waitress, she walked for 8 hours a day, right? At the end of 1 year, she lose no weight. Another woman walked for 1 hour. At the end of the year, she lose weight. So physically, the waitress is doing more walking. The lady going to the gym is doing less walking. One is walking 8 hours a day. Another one is walking 1 hour a day. And why do the one that walk 1 hour a day lose weight and the one that walk 8 hours don't lose weight? The reason is the waitress is not concentrating on losing weight. She's concentrating on her customers.
Interesting.
And the woman in the gym is concentrating on losing weight. The brain controls the body.
The brain controls the body.
The body do not control the brain.
All right. Well, you heard it from the Hall of Famer, Tony Atlas. Tony, any final thoughts before we wrap up? I hear the music in the background.
Oh, okay. Before we wrap up, what I'm saying, believe, first of all, in yourself.
Yeah.
Believe in God. Believe in your country. And believe in your leadership and believe in your president. It don't matter if you vote for your president or you didn't vote for a president. When times get bad, together we stand, divided we fall. Together we stand. I support the president in each and everything he do. Because right now I have to support him whether I want to or not. It's not up to me. He's the leader right now. He's the pilot. He's the driver. And what decision he make is I have to follow. So put politics aside, believe in yourself, believe in your God, believe positive thinking, positive result. Negative thinking, negative result. So think positive.
And believe in Mr. USA, Tony Atlas.
Well, don't believe me, it'll get you in all type of trouble. If you want to get in trouble, you listen to me. I'll get you in all type of trouble. I'm an expert in getting in trouble, that good buddy.
All right, Tony, it's been a fantastic Friday with you. Again, we have a new Flashback Friday on the YouTube channel where each week during this coronavirus madness, we go into the studio shoot interview library and hear from one of wrestling's greatest legends. We got the history videos every day. We got that Patreon we need you to support. So much going on here, even though our live event and studio shoot initiatives have been kind of stompled on by this disease, this virus. I'm sorry. For Tony Atlas, I'm Dan Marotti. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good Memorial Day weekend. Remember those we lost. Goodbye.